Hey guys, welcome back to another Canadian Immigration Live Q&A. I am Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, and there's the question. Would love to hear about your meeting with the minister. I'm actually going to share some insight with you today. As always, this live Q&A is a chance for you to get your questions answered, so stick around. I'm going to do a little bit of an overview of my discussion with our minister, and let me just pull this off. This is what happens when you're working your comments. Okay, I got to definitely adjust that. This meeting I had last Thursday with the Honorable Sean Fraser. I'm going to talk about that today, which will be awesome. There's lots of really, really good insight. You know, I'll be honest, I'm pretty impressed with Minister Fraser. He is a pretty good dude. So I'll share a little bit of insight on that. And as always, the questions that always come. What is the future of express entry? We'll talk a little bit about that as well today. Well, welcome. This is the Canadian Immigration Institute. My very, very, well, favorite thing to I don't know even how to describe it. You know, the Canadian Immigration Institute has transformed my life. And very soon I'm going to have a new trailer video that's going to go up on the YouTube channel that you can kind of watch and get a little idea as to why I created this thing. But really, it's all for you guys. It really is. And ultimately, yes, I'm an immigration lawyer. Yes, I love when people book consultations with my firm. Yes, I love when they take my classes, which big shout out to all the students who are right now attending. If you click on courses, this one right here, my spousal sponsorship course, it's going on right now. And it's full of just some awesome people. I'm not sure if any of them have jumped on the live today, but big shout out to them. We've got individuals who are applying themselves. We've got immigration consultants. Don't have any immigration lawyers this time, but it is the very, very first one that we're launching. And, you know, this here is just the beginning of some amazing things that are going to be happening in Q1 of 2022. Courses for everything. At least we're going to hit the top 5. So stay tuned as we go through this. Okay, let's see who's here. We gave some shout outs before to some people. Yes, we've got Grace who is in Qatar. Make sure you always post below where you're tuning in from. I love to see that. Sabia is in Saskatoon. Fantastic. And that reminds me, I am also in the process of writing a book on economic immigration in Canada with my good friend Andrew. And we are going to be, but we'll see where it goes. There's some indications that maybe if the book turns out the way we want it to, that it might become a course curriculum material and support for the Queen's program. So we'll see what happens there for all you immigration consultants out there. As always, like and subscribe this channel, because the more likes, the more subscribes, the more shares, the more people will actually get a chance to see it, and YouTube will say, hey, what Mark's saying here is actually worthwhile. All right, let's see who else we have here. If you've got questions, hold off on those questions. We'll get to those in just a little bit. George is over in Sydney. I've got a brother in Brisbane. Welcome, George. Hitesh is over in Toronto. Good to see you, Hitesh. Thanks for connecting in. Shaw says, good day. Good to see you. Please answer my questions today, trying for a few of your episodes. Do you know what, Shaw? I do my very, very, very best to answer the questions. Super chats obviously always get answered, but I just work through systematically. But I'll let you know, Shaw. And do you know what, my friend? I will answer yours. So I'll watch for it. Okay. Oh, Toronto, it's cold. What is the temperature? What is the temperature? I'm going to check this out and see. Let's see what the temperature is here. I'm going to pull up my phone and let's see what it is in Lethbridge. Oh, ho, ho. Not too bad. It's 0. It's 0 degrees. You guys can see that. 0 degrees in Lethbridge. Woohoo! Oh, my phone's still working. Yeah, it's not broken. All right. See, the problem is I have this little trigger finger here. I played volleyball for many years and I had an injury blocking, and now this little finger just doesn't go straight. So he doesn't work so good when I'm flipping and sharing stuff. Anyways, the cost of playing sports all your life at a high level. Eventually your body's going to have some breakdowns, and that's what happened to this guy here. Oh, I wouldn't change it for the world. Hello to you, Elikim. Good to see you. Jama is in the house. Who else do we have here? Jama's from South Africa. That's excellent. Ankit says choosing people over food. Yes, I was finishing up my breakfast right here. That's what happens when you just are racing from one thing to another. I've been reading a fantastic book called The YouTube Formula. I'm trying to figure out how to reach you guys. So watch the thumbnails and the videos that I'm starting to release. I have a brand new video editor that I just hired last night. He is going to be fantastic. I'm really, really excited to have Phil joining our team, and you're going to see that the quality in these videos is going to start to climb up. And we're going to start doing a better job of repurposing all of the awesome, amazing information in these live Q&As. Because let's face it, it's crazy that the YouTube channel is, I don't know, what is it now? 37,000, I guess. And I've been doing 1 hour long Q&As. Like, this is the worst formula for trying to grow your YouTube channel. But what it does for me is it finds the people who actually want to listen to what I have to say. And I'm not getting a whole bunch of people that are just entertained. These are people that this is affecting their lives. And that's why I created the channel. But I'm shifting gears. And with the help of Phil and Igor and this fantastic team that I have, we're going to start producing a lot more pre-recorded, short, segmented video content that you can dive right in to get the answers that you're looking for. But I also want to let you guys know that on the YouTube channel, there is so much content already, and you can go in there and you can just search by topic, and you'd be amazed at the content that comes up. So don't hesitate to go back, search through the content, use that search feature because YouTube is hosted by Google. It's awesome. Okay, let's keep zipping through here just a little bit more. Yoon Chen, good to see you. Good morning. Melanie, hello. Jenny says she loves my content. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's you followers, you fans, you people that actually come and consume this that makes me get up in the morning. And like I said, when I have the opportunity to then take you and teach you right here in the course, and I am about done with this overlay that is driving me crazy because this overlay needs to stay in the right channel. Just give me a second. I was doing my live Q&A yesterday, and I was experimenting with my overlays, and this one unfortunately keeps getting popped up on the wrong one, but oh, wait a minute, get in there. What is going on? Oh, okay, close this one. That's why, because I have this one here. Okay, I'm going to turn that one off, and then I should be able to pull up a fresh one here. Yay. Okay, now we're good. Now I change channels. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, it's actually not hilarious. It's driving me crazy right now. Anyways, okay, so I'll have to remember to turn those off manually. Okay, you guys have no clue what I've got going on the other side. So to actually start surrounding myself with a team to help me do this is going to be fantastic, because right now it can be a pretty big gong show. Fortunately, the content has carried me when the form of these videos hasn't been so special. So anyways, okay. So Antonita, she says hello. Alex is in the house. Nadia is in the house. George says Mendocino wasn't exactly a high bar to beat. Actually, George, I disagree with you. Mendocino had to deal with the most difficult time in the history of a minister of immigration. And so I have a lot of respect for Mendocino. You know, he had his marching orders. The minister has to follow the mandate letter from the prime minister. And Mendocino was in the midst of this pandemic when the prime minister was saying, you have to meet the levels plans. Obviously in 2020, everything was locked down. There were physically nothing that he could do. 2021 made the decision to focus inside Canada. Yes, it's created a ripple effect for all of you outside Canada, but he was doing what his job was required to do, which was fulfill the annual levels plans that the government set, and they were not backing down from it. So Mendocino did a lot of good, and, he's transitioned now, and now we have Minister Fraser. But yeah, I'm not going to knock Mendocino too hard. Okay. Melanie's over in Granada. Good to see you, Melanie. We've got Marconda, Fathi. Hello to you and everyone else there. All right. And let's see here. We'll do a couple more shout outs and then we will get to the question. So we've got Mario's over in Ottawa. Hello, Mario. The T-Niche Queen from Jamaica. Fantastic. Antonita says, good morning, Mark. Let's hope 2022 brings good news to us all. That's a good segue. All right, I know you guys are posting a ton of questions, and I want to give you all shout outs, but the reality is the channel gets so busy that I don't have an opportunity to say hello to Liz and to Hardy and to everybody else. So if I skip you, bear with me. And Anastasia, good to see you over in Israel. And Estiva says, tuning in from Dublin, eagerly waiting to immigrate to Canada. Yes, yes. Saeed is there, and Sean's in the house from Turkey. Hello, Sean, longtime follower. Rima's there. Thisura, as always, one of my faithful followers. Thank you so much for connecting in. Kishan from Toronto, doing great. Abby, I don't think I can get to the bottom of this. We have Wojciech, good to see you. You're always sending me good tips from immigration news. Thank you, my friend, for doing that. Yes, minus 21. Feels like minus 21 in Toronto, Terry. Not warm, is it? And then we've got Saida, who is saying hello too. Muhammad from Pakistan. Okay, well, big shout out. You guys know I'm listening to you and I'm giving you a shout out. So thanks so much. All right, let's take a second here. And once again, I'm going to try to see if this will listen to me. Okay. What I want to talk about is this right here, and I know lots of people have questions about it, and it was the meeting that I had with the minister. It was around noon on Thursday, so just after our last live Q&A, and I had a chance to meet with my fellow table officers with the Canadian Bar Association with Minister Fraser. And yeah, Kyle and Lisa came along, and our CBA representative was there as well, so it was just a tight little group that we met virtually, a little video meeting. And we're hoping that we can get Minister Fraser to come to our annual conference. It's going to be online, unfortunately, again, which will be probably the end of May, beginning of June. So we're looking forward to him coming to join us. So how do I get a meeting with the minister? Well, let me just explain. So I just served over the last 4 years. I've been serving on the Canadian Bar Association's National Immigration Executive. So I was the secretary, and then I became the vice chair, and then I was the chair last year, and that came to an end in September of last year. And now I'm the immediate past chair. So right now there's 4 of us on as table officers, and we have meetings with all the government officials. And the Quebec lawyers, ACAD, also has their representatives, and CAPIC, the Immigration Consultant Association, also has their immigration representative meetings with the government department. And I also had a recent one, a Q&A, with all of the government heads within the immigration, temporary resident, permanent resident, asylum, all of those divisions within immigration, as well as the Canada Border Service Agency, ESDC, which runs the foreign worker program. So we have those monthly meetings. But when a new minister comes around, usually once a year, we connect with the minister, and sometimes we can connect more than once, depending upon the needs of the department and how we can help them and support them. Obviously, as lawyers, we provide legal feedback to them. Things not only about what's happening on the ground that everybody can see, but we provide feedback on new legislation, proposed changes to policy, and the impact often to you guys that is just not seen sometimes by the department, because they're not right on the ground, in the weeds, swimming essentially with you, seeing the real life effects of the decisions that they're making in Ottawa. So that's one of the things that we address with the minister. So what did the minister talk about? Well, I know what I talked about, and I know what I brought up to him, and that was the plight of all of you who are international students, and I'm talking to you, who obtained your postgrad work permit, or maybe you haven't even obtained it yet, but are wondering what the future holds because your postgrad's running out. There is no draws that appear to be coming. At least that's what people say, right? I'm going to tell you something different here in just a second, so listen up. But lots of people are saying after that memo that was released, and I did my own video on it, breaking it down systematically. If you're wondering, Mark, what are you talking about? Let me pull this up quick, and I'll just show you what I mean. So there was a memorandum that was, went across everywhere like wildfire, and that memorandum was an internal document that's obtained through an access to information request, and that document right here is where I talk about it. No more express entry FSW draws in 2022. This is Igor's creative way. There might be no FSW draws in 2022, and that is the message that was going on. So that's what was being spread everywhere. So I encourage you to go check it out, because I go in detail in that video. This memo that was leaked, it was obtained through an access to information request that really gave people some serious reason to be concerned. especially the Outlanders. And what it said in a nutshell was that there's so many people already in the queue that they could probably fill the quota for 2022 without inviting another person into one of the federal high skilled programs. That's how they call it in their statistics, FHS. And so the federal high skill are your federal skilled worker, the CEC even, and the federal skilled trade program, which we didn't even see any action on that last year. So that's one of the questions I know that you guys are talking about. You're wondering, what does the future hold? Alicia and I also did a video specifically on this topic. So if you have questions about this, go back right here. I'm going to go back one video here, and Alicia and I did it. Where is Alicia's video? This is like, I guess I'll pull up all of them. Oh, we never posted it. So will your work permit expire soon? Can you stay in Canada? That is really, and I think I need to adjust the heading because this should have like, this video here, you guys, should have like 20,000 views. So I think I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail because I don't think you guys get what we were trying to talk about. But in that video right here that we released 5 days ago, this corresponds with our, on our Healthy Immigration Law page. If you go to resources and click on blog, make sure you head over there and read this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time diving in because I've already tackled this, and I will create more bite-sized pieces. But this is all about how you can stay in Canada after your work permit expires, or try to do what you can to prevent, well, basically what the options are. And Alicia created this long post, which I've shared with a number of you before. Go here, check it out, because this really dovetails into what the discussion I had with Mr. Fraser, the topic. So one of the things when we're speaking with Minister Fraser, we always, turn it over to him, let us know what's important to him. And I can tell you guys that the one group of people that are important to him, and he specifically asked us, and I'm on a working group right now, providing suggestions on what they can do to help you guys, is international students. So those who have come over, studied, obtained a postgrad work permit that are stuck in this situation. So he actually, before he even had a chance to bring it up, and obviously the important thing for me was to help him to understand really what's happening. And I hear you guys, I listen to you, I watch the comments, and I take that information and I share it. So in the meeting with Minister Fraser, he asserted once again the importance of international students and that whole cohort, that whole group that are in this difficult situation. They will do something. They will. And I've got my own suggestions, and obviously there's lots of things going around, such as extend the postgrad work permit, things like that. There's some other things that existed previously that they have not done for years and years. One is an actual LMIA for postgrad work permit holders, where the company who's employing you can apply to extend your stay with a labor market impact assessment without having to advertise. So it's an ad exempt, and that's something that's going straight up on the list for me. In my mind, if they're concerned about, tracking the postgrad students and knowing how many are here, if they're really important, and the transition from international student to worker to permanent residence is something that the government really values, which of course is exactly what Minister Fraser told us, that was a cohort, a group that they feel really has the highest chances of settling and becoming successful in Canada. Well, if that's the words right out of his mouth, then I know things are going to happen. And so, so the reason I'm actually sharing this stuff freely for two reasons. One is because we summarized all of our notes and we shared everything that we took from the meeting with all of our 1,000+ members. Then I know Canada Visa and the lawyers that work within CIC News, took some of those reports and have already released some of the stuff, right? But my position as a table officer, I do not share anything on this channel that I have not already shared with all of the lawyers and the members. So I don't use this position to somehow, get an inside track with the minister without making sure that I leverage my position there to all the other lawyers so that they can benefit from it too, and they can help and advise their clients. So that's really important to me. But once that information is shared, then guess where I come? I come right back here to share what I learned with you guys. So back to the discussion with Minister Fraser, the key takeaway point is that you guys are important to him. So they will find a way, a pathway. Maybe they will create a new 18-month, pilot again to extend work permits, maybe. one of the things he asked us as a CBA was to provide suggestions on something equivalent to the TR to PR pathway, another pathway that they could potentially consider to help with the transition. And personally, I'll be honest to you guys, I think that for predictability and for sustainability, they need to keep to the programs that they have. I don't like the big flash TR to PR. It catches people off guard. And you know, because many of you were caught off guard. You didn't have your language tests. You didn't have your completion of graduation, whatever it was that held you back from being able to qualify. And there's only so many spots. And yes, at the time it served a purpose, but I think long-term, it has to be a blended response. You know, yes, the people in Canada are important, but so are the people outside. And back to what Minister Fraser told us is that absolutely there will be FSW draws in 2022. So anyone who's telling you that there isn't, that's simply not the case. So we were rest assured that there would be, but here is the important factor that you guys have to take into consideration. And that important factor is that we don't know exactly how that's going to play out. So in previous budgets, IRCC and these government budgets was allocated millions of dollars to adjust express entry in some way to better target the labor market needs in Canada. So years ago, and remember guys, I've been at this for a long time. I guess that's my eye doctor saying I need an eye appointment. The one thing years and years ago, and you know, I'm trying to think how long I've been practicing. I guess I worked on the border 2001. So, and then I worked with the hearings officers in 2003. And I'm trying to think, actually 2002 was when I worked on the border. I worked downtown with the hearings officers in 2003. I started my practice basically 2004. And so I've been at this for a long, long time. And back in those early days, they had associated with the Canadian Experience class, they had an occupation list. So when they first launched it, the demand was so high, they said, okay, if your occupations are bang, bang, bang in these areas, then you can apply. And I should say CEC, it was FSW that they did that with. And so I personally feel that we are going to go back to that. So individuals who have skill sets in certain occupations, not only are the PNPs attractive, and Andrew and I are writing the book on those provincial nominee programs. I actually have a meeting with the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program Manager on the 31st to get more intel on the IT express entry stream that they just launched. Because, you know, what do you know about it other than what you read on the website? So I'm going to learn that, share it with my members. You know, I'm in Alberta. I love my province, and I will do everything to encourage people to come here, especially to help grow IT and do all those kinds of things. And I love the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program, and I love my province. And so anyways, I'm going to meet with him, and I'm going to share everything that I can to help you guys understand how it works. So stay tuned for that. Watch for that. That'll definitely be a video that will come out, well, probably Wednesday. I'll tell you about it, because I think, is it the first? No, it's on the 1st, which I think is Tuesday. Well, it's all a blur. Anyways, so I see Minister Fraser potentially adding in those occupations. So identifying these positions here, if you have occupations that fit into those categories, then at that stage, you're going to be given maybe an extra 50 points, maybe 100 points. I don't know. And there will be an FSW draw. So, you know, whether it's FSW or CEC or whatever, but more than likely when I hear him talking about that, that's what I think, because we can all go and we can look, right? So let's go back here and let's do a search. So we'll go round of invitations, EEIRCC, that's the winner always. Let's pull this up and let's take a look. So when we look here and we look at the number of people that are in the queue, so you can see January the 19th, we're due. I suspect today we'll have another PNP draw. That has tended to be the pattern, right? So if you look back every 2 weeks, and even in the mandate letter and in the importance of PNPs and in that leaked memoranda, we can see the pattern, right? So they're pretty much locked in here to continue down with that pattern of provincial nominee programs. But if we go back and we look here, there are so many people that are in this queue. And I know what people are thinking. They're like, my goodness, I spent all this money and now what the future holds. I understand and I feel for you guys. We don't really know exactly what's going to happen, but for individuals, I believe there's going to be some form of an occupation, occupation in demand list. It will play a part. I don't think they're going to scrap FSW at all. I think they're going to tweak it and they're going to adjust it based on the specific needs and compensating for the fact that they have so many people that are already in the queue. But my prediction, at least when it comes to FSW, is that we're probably looking at closing into June, July before we see another, no program specified draw, whatever variation it is. It's not going to go to the end of the year. I don't believe that. I'd hope that they would start here in January, but even I wasn't fully aware of how many applications they had in the queue, because you just don't know the statistics. It takes time for those statistics to be released, but there are a lot of people in the queue that they need to process. And that also is a big priority for our minister. He specifically said in the video conference that we had with him that it's a big priority. And you've seen in the budget, which I've talked about, that $86 million has been allocated specifically to processing. And so they want to work through and get a handle on that so that they can bring the processing times down into that 6-month range for everyone. Because right now they're sitting at about 21 months. At least they were in November. I'm sure it's gone down a little bit because they've thrown everything at it. And also, as of January, the ability to actually get a meaningful answer back by a web form or calling someone on the phone, now they've shifted back where they're starting to take responses. And I was very critical of them. I don't think there's any excuse for not being forthright. And I also explained to the minister in the meeting that it was not fair to keep listing 6 months or even 12 months for processing times for express entry or spousal sponsorship, because they say, well, that's our service level standard we're trying to hit. Well, who cares? We know that that's your goal, but it doesn't help anyone to not know exactly where things are at with their files, right? How much time do you guys spend out there wondering where your application is at, when it's going to be processed? Like, whole websites have been created to try to track, when things start to move forward so that people can get a legitimate, response as to when applications might be processed. So I had that discussion, and so, 2 key takeaways. One, international students, that issue, they're looking at it and working on it. And I know for some of you, it's going to be really tough because, that rescue or whatever that's going to come, it may not come fast enough. Remember, go here and look at this, because this blog post with Alicia, go over to Holthe Immigration Law. It's just holthelaw.com and click on the resource tab and click on blogs. And there's a ton of amazing blog posts. I'm so proud of these lawyers. Alicia and Chanel, who wrote this, All You Need to Know About Job Offers. This really is information that you guys can benefit from. So go over there and check it out. But 2 takeaways. Postgrads, he's aware of the issues that's facing and the repercussions of not having the draws. And 2, the processing times for all of you that are in the queue. The reason everything else is slowed down is because they're throwing everything they can at trying to get the applications processed so they can get back into normal processing times. And once they have that done, then I expect to start seeing forward movement with new, outland applications. Excuse me. So that's basically, some of the high level stuff that we talked about with the minister. Obviously, there were other things, and I will do a special video on this topic exactly, where I'll dive into a few more things that came out from the discussion with the minister. But at this stage, we'll just kind of stop there, because I know that there are lots of people who have lots of questions that are being posted, and they are very anxious to get help. And not everybody's affected by this. Other people have questions about study permits, work permits, visiting in Canada, all of those other aspects, spousal sponsorship. So what we'll do now is I'll jump to the bottom. Now, make sure you put a Q, okay, in front of your question. And if you've got a Q, I'll start to take those questions now. So those of you who are, if you've got a question, please just send it my way. All right. Those of you who make comments, I'll assume they're just kind of general comments. And so, and I understand this, you guys, like lots of people, the spousal open work permit backlog, I understand that. And this is something that has been a recent phenomenon. The whole spousal open work permit world has just blown up as people have, tried to look at any possible way to be able to come to Canada. So if you can get one spouse there, this is the strategy, right? Apply for a spouse, apply for a study permit, leave your spouse behind, then try to apply to bring your spouse later. Because, and some of you will also remember that we did the video right down here with, where's my good friend? Where are you? Right here. You guys, if you haven't watched this one, we're at about 15,000. This should be like 50,000, I swear, this video. You know, how your visa gets refused, update on the Chinook system with my good friend Will Tao. You guys have got to go watch that video because it breaks down and gives you specific explanations as to what this Chinook system is looking at, how they're starting to kind of sort applications and categorize them based on certain factors. And although there isn't a ton that we've been able to pull out from the officer manuals, there is still enough to give us a very clear idea as to what immigration is looking at and why they may refuse your application versus someone else. And if you know in advance what the minister's doing, if you know, man, I got to keep shutting those off. When you know in advance what the minister, what the visa officer and the missions abroad are doing, you can then prepare your application in a way that helps to avoid those pitfalls. And that's something that we do in our office all the time with our collaborative reviews. We do a ton of reviews of study permit applications. People prepare them, and then we jump on and we go through a series, a very, very detailed series of reviews and analysis of that application. You still control it. It's yours, but you get the full weight of our advice direction. And let's face it, who cares more about your application than you? No one does. And so why would you just hand over the whole thing to someone who doesn't care as much about it as you do, when in reality, you guys that are watching this video, you are DIYers at heart. You're smart. You want to learn. You want to understand how to do it. But that'll only take you so far. Sometimes you need a lawyer or lawyers that have 18, 19, 20 years of immigration experience to help you see those things that just are not apparent. And that's what we do. So, back to the questions. Clearly, the SOWP backlogs are a real issue, and the minister, all backlogs the minister is looking at dealing with. But they're going to start with the PRs. They're slowly working through it. It's country by country, you guys. So obviously in India, things are going a whole lot slower because there's a gazillion of you that are following this path because some creative consultants said, hey, this is a good way to do it. Come study, or education agents, or even the illegal agents that I hate, who are unauthorized and practicing immigration when, destroying people's lives and getting paid for it, but have no authority to do that. So, but anyway, some creative people say, hey, come study. And then after you can bring your spouse. And that's kind of what's created the backlogs, because there's so many people that are stuck in that situation versus doing it together. And yeah, some people say, well, if we do it together, then there's no ties to my home country and my spouse is coming with me and I've got a greater chance of my study permit being refused. All of those things are legitimate. I clearly understand that. Okay, let's jump into Vinod says here, is the ONP CRS for Cec Draw upper cutoff going to change? Great question. I have CRS score of 478. According to the latest info, FSW scores is going to change to 500. You're right. This is something we don't know, because right now the ONP has followed that traditional pattern where they were kind of sending out those notifications of interest to people that weren't quite getting ITAs. And so some people were being creative and they were actually reducing their CRS score so that they could fall back down into that 460 range. And so we don't know, Vinod, I don't know what they're going to do. At this stage, I've never advised anyone to do that, to artificially try to decrease or increase. Well, always increase, yes, but artificially decrease to fit in the range. But we just don't know. We just don't know. All right. Okay, I can see this is a huge issue, you guys. Man, this is a huge, huge issue. Okay. All right. I'm going to need to talk about that, won't I? I'm going to make a note about these, and I'll create another video to talk about it. Eventually, yeah, we're going to see those backlogs get cleared, but yeah, I feel for you guys. Okay. Rohit says self-employed program. Yep. We should do a video on that. Yep. Clear the backlogs. That's right on the minister's realm. Okay, this one makes me sick. Okay, guys, this one truly, truly makes me sick. I applied for a student visa in Canada, and at the end, when I sent $3,000 for my rep, no more response from 2016 until today. JJ, you've been hosed or scammed or cheated or something. And this is where I'm really, really hoping that the new consultant regulator will crush crooked consultants. just like I want the law societies across Canada. I remember there's a lawyer, Paul Hess, who scammed a ton of money out of people. And I went to law school at U of M. I know, the law firm that he worked for, and that guy, he was crushed by the law society. And even his partners ended up having to pay back people their money. That just doesn't exist in the world of consultants right now. And so the actual remedies available, I'm hoping now that with a new regulator, things will tighten up and this kind of stuff won't happen. But JJ, you've been hosed, and there's no reason whatsoever. Okay, let's hit on some of our super chats here. So let's hit the first one. So Sugdeep says, for Ontario's French PNP stream, whether out of Canada experience has to be in specific NOC codes like the human capital priority, or it could be in any NOC code. And if we have CLB7 in French exam, we'll be eligible. Okay, Sugdeep, I will do a special video breaking down that, because that question leads to so much others. So hang in there, watch. I will go back in and I will do a video that specifically targets the ins and outs of this, the French PNP stream. So stay tuned for that one. Okay, Tanya says, hey, I am FSW. Yes, India. Since we've been waiting for a long time, if one takes a loan or fixed deposit money, proof of funds, will they give time to show money again, or will it lead to refusals? So what we're seeing, Tanya, right now is that they give you 30 days to provide proof of funds. So if you've already submitted your EAPR and you're just in the queue waiting, and now they come back, we're seeing now on those letters of basically the update letters where they say, we need you to get a new medical. We need you to, provide updated police certificates, whatever they are. We're also seeing that they're asking for proof of funds. And so that time period is usually 30 days. Now, remember, you guys, you do have the ability to request an extension of time. That's something that you can do. And so if you've got a request for information and you don't have time, you can request another 30 days. And if that's what it takes to try to, to bolster your funds to get them back up, or get the funds pulled back from whatever investment you've put them in, because you've been just, twisting in the wind, waiting and not knowing what's going to happen. So you might as well put it back in an interest-bearing account. That's what a lot of people have been thinking. I personally don't advise that, but people have done that. So then in those circumstances, that's a little bit of a way to buy time. But yes, you do have to be able to show it at the time you're ready to move forward with your application, but consider an extension if you need a little bit more time. Little pro tip there. Okay, Vita says, after exploratory visit, how likely the PNP to draw from New Brunswick? Knock 4031. Okay, so this is one where I will ring that bell. You guys have heard that a lot, right, Vita? And the reality is we really need to look at things a whole lot more, because you're asking, what can I do? And that, Vita, comes right back here to our Healthy Immigration Law website and speak to a lawyer. And boy, I just keep forgetting to turn this off. So annoying. I don't know why that's not working. That's so annoying. All right. So anyways, this is where you can go to book a consult with one of the lawyers. So head on over there, and then that's the best place to get specific information on what you individually can do, because we're trying to find stuff here that helps as many people that are watching live as possible. Okay. Mateus says, submitted my EAPR earlier this month. AINP, realistically, will it really take 6 months before COPR is ready? Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So EAPR, now this is the question that I have. I'm assuming EAPR is through Express Entry. So you say the AINP, so was it the Express Entry stream? He says earlier this month, will it really take 6 months before the COPR is ready? Yes. I think that's a fair statement to make. Yes. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, George, I'm gonna rein you in, my friend. He says, people commenting saying to clear the backlog, you're overfilling this chat box with those dumb messages. It's not a dumb message, George. You are a faithful follower, an alumnist. You are an alumni of the Canadian Immigration Institute. I understand. I understand your frustration with people posting these comments, but understand these are real situations, and tons of people have this question. They want to know what's going to happen. So like I said, when I see those many questions, George, I will go and I'll create a separate video on that topic. Okay. So bear with it, you guys. Sometimes people are going to want to know things that they just don't apply to you, but be patient, be respectful to one another. And yes, if someone's just spamming, understand that's not cool. don't repeat your same thing 5,000 times. That's less effective for me. But at the same time, let's understand everybody's at different stages. This process is really, really painful for people. There's nothing worse that I see when I'm practicing immigration than to have a consult with someone who comes to me and explains their situation, and I can't help them. But if they'd come only, even a year earlier to me, if they'd come early instead of waiting to see the immigration lawyer at the end, it would have made all the difference in their lives. All the difference. I'll be honest, you guys. It really sucks knowing that I could have done something to help someone if they'd come earlier. They simply did not have the understanding, I guess, that I could provide value in the early stages of the process. And that's the only thing I'd recommend. Get advice, get direction early on. Don't just assume that it's simple, straightforward, and easy, despite how many times the federal government, IRCC, tells you it is, because it's not. Despite how many times you see on WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, how easy the process is, please don't listen to them. Because yes, there are aspects of it. Filling out the form is not rocket science. Anybody can do it, but it's the why. And when we do our collaborative reviews in the office, I explain why. I explain why the question is being asked. And when you understand that why, then you know what to put in the section, what to put in that answer. And that's the same thing that I teach in the DIY courses. When you go through all the videos that are literally a step-by-step process where I walk you through every section of the forms, where I share these explanations, it makes all the difference in the world, because when you know the why, then you know how to include the what. All right, let's keep zooming through here. There you go. Ramendra says, use Super Chats to deliver your message. Yes. Okay. Naman says, my score is 461 and NOC is 1123. Do I need to apply for PNP separately? I don't have a job offer yet. So this is where I will give CIC a really, Canada Visa, a really good shout out. At this stage, I haven't created anything, but I'll give them a shout out. I haven't done this for a while, but they do. I've really been impressed with their news stuff. But on here, and I'll flip this over, and this time I'm going to turn the chat off first before I slide over here. I can't remember exactly where it is, but they used to have, let's see if I can find it before I flip over here. It's got to be pretty popular. There is. Okay. I think this is it. Yeah, here it is. Okay. I'll share it over here. So free advertising for Canada Visa. But I really, really think this is a tool that's really kind of cool. So at least it helps you when you're going through here. You can just search, and one of the custom search filters is there a job offer or not? So program active, well, that's all you care about. You don't care about any closed. Express entry linked, well, you make the decision, yes or no. I don't know is fine. Job offer, yes. So if you're outside of Canada, this is one of the things. If it's a job offer supported, and you can see it kind of breaks things down. And then express entry, it says no, job required, yes. So all of these, this is a high level kind of breakdown, which is actually a really, really good tool. So this is one thing. I don't usually, like I say, give shout outs to other firms, but that tool is pretty cool. And that can help you to know which PNPs that are job offer exempt that might work for you or be available. Some of them are passive. They're notification of interest. In other words, you get your profile in and you wait. And if they like you, and 1123 that you have here is the NOC code that fits, you're going to get that notification of interest. For others like Saskatchewan, you can apply it through the Saskatchewan PNP, but very similar to the comprehensive ranking system within Express Entry. It's very, very competitive. The one difference with Saskatchewan is that they're not as punishing with age. Once you hit 30, you start to lose points. And they also give credit for people who have been working in a job for up to 10 years. So, you get, 2 points for the first 5 years and 1 point for every year after. It really adds up. Whereas Express Entry is really all about, it's a young person's game. Once you hit 3 years of foreign work experience, then you've really maxed out your opportunity under the FSW program. So Naaman, so I hope that helps you. Okay, Sugdeep says, thank you, sir, for answering question and providing us with relevant info about ONP French stream. Please answer this question in the video soon as our lives depend on it. Please make a note of it. Yes, Sugdeep, absolutely, I will. Okay, let's see here. And then other people, Nishant, I need you to make sure that you actually post in there your question, because otherwise I have to try to search through the whole volume here. Okay, let's see. I think it's this one, Nishant. Okay, please share your view on 2021 PNP AOR Outland applications. On one side, we see USA applicants July AOR getting PPR, whereas other country applicants are completely clueless. I agree. They need to do a better job. But one thing I do know, Nishant, and based on my discussion with right here, with this fellow here, I know that getting those backlogs sorted out is a big priority for this government. And whenever you see, and this is something I want to also reiterate to you guys, if you want to know where the immigration programs are going, you absolutely have to follow the money. So flipping back here to the channel, and I think it was black. Oh no, it was green. This one right here, about a month ago, I told you about the economic fiscal update. Once again, there's 3,000 people that watch it. I need to do a better job with the thumbnails. But the reality is this explained two big, huge changes to the budget, applying funds to processing, 85 million. And then it was like 1.3 billion or something to the Afghan crisis, which has ripple effects. Like we said before, there was in the previous budgets, a portion allocated towards expanding express entry to occupations in demand. We know that the new tier system, I can tell you, I can tell you guys that everything is behind. I do not see a change with tier until 2023. I really don't. I see no change in 2022. Everything that I've talked about, they've said and hinted that, they're likely going to start rolling it out the end of 2022. Are you kidding me? Like, the portals are a disaster. They're still trying to sort it out. The GCMS that we use is like a computer with 99% capacity used up on the hard drive. They're constantly trying to pull out data out of the hard drive to make room. And that's why it keeps crashing over and over and over again. So do you think they're in the position to just start rolling out a new NOC code through a National Occupational Classification 2021? Do you really think they're going to be doing that this year? No. Like, they've got a whole mess ahead of them before they start something as ambitious as that. Do they want to move that way? Yes. Is there funds once again attributed to it? Yes. Are they working on it in the background? Yes. But I'm not seeing anything until 2023 on that front. Okay. So when it comes to this question and passport requests for Outlanders, watch, because you're going to start to see things going quicker. And I personally feel like the backlogs, those of you that have been in those legacy backlog queues, you're going to see things resolved in the next 6 months. I believe they're really, really going to work at it. And those processing times, remember when they say 21 months, that's not 21 months forward. This is something you guys really have to understand. When they post those processing times, they're backward looking. Okay. The vast majority of time, they're backward looking. So when you go in, you watch my video that I did on that secret memo that was released, and is there no FSW draws in 2022? You will see that the processing time that was hinted, this 20.5 months or 21 months, it was right around there for FSW. That is backward looking. It means they're working on applications that were submitted that long ago. Not all of the processing times are designed that way. You have to read them carefully. But going forward, as they start to dive in and really, start to process those applications, then the processing times are going to come down, obviously. So just because here now today doesn't mean by June they're still 21 months out. They hopefully will have it back down to 6 months. All right. So keep that in mind. And that's a great question. Really, it is, Nishant. Okay. We got a bunch of chats here, so we're going to make sure we get to all of those. That's always a priority. Okay. So let's see what we have here. Okay. So Jan Schur says, when they say occupation specific, do they mean additional points awarded to in demand or only inviting in demand? Also, what prospects for lawyers? Good question. So we don't know what they're targeting. although I will do videos in the future if you watch, because I know the statistics. I know the labor, and this is what I'll talk about with the AINP. I know the surveys, the labor market information that the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program uses to determine occupations that are in demand and not. It's not a secret. You know, every province uses publicly available data in terms of labor shortages when they're making these decisions. So I think that's probably a really good video to do, is a series on salary surveys for each province. And wow, I'm getting all these good ideas. It's a whole new world now that I've got Phil, my awesome video editor. I'll have to actually bring him on to wave to everybody too. I love giving shout outs to all the people that help with this. But when it comes to the points, we don't know for certain. But personally, Jansher, I don't think they're going to say only people in these occupations can submit. Well, boy, that's tough. It's possible. It's possible it could go either way. It's possible they could say if your occupations are on this list, then you've been granted an invitation to apply. It's possible. Or they could say we're going to give you an extra 50 points or 100 points. But I'm not seeing that they're going to just, I don't think they're just going to close off, because they still have a need to meet their targets for French language, for Francophones outside of Quebec, which the target is 4% total. And if they make the decision that they are not going to issue any FSW to only people in specific occupations, then that ignores one of the mandates from the Prime Minister to emphasize the expansion of Francophone new immigrants across Canada outside the province of Quebec. So do you see how my mind works? You know, we don't know for certain, but I definitely pull in everything that I possibly can to try to get to those results. Okay, Vita, she's got NOT code 4031, CRS score 496, waiting for FSW, study. Wait for FSW or study, maybe is your question. Vita, it is really, really hard to say. Your score is quite high. Ultimately, is 4031 going to be on that list if the minister goes that route? As far as studying, that's a very complex thing. We should probably do another video specifically on that. But basically, the decision whether or not to study and apply for a study permit and come to Canada, or whether or not to hunker down and wait it out, there's so many factors at play. How old are you, Veda? You know, when's your next birthday? Is there other factors that are going to cause your score to go down? Those are all factors that we look at. And that's why I always ring that little bell and tell you to slide over and book a consult. And I want to point something out to you guys, because obviously when I'm the one doing the videos, this is, you guys see me and you feel, you know, Mark is the only one that can answer my questions. But I don't want you to think that way. The reason I hired the lawyers to join me was because of their knowledge, their experience, their passion in every bit as much as me. So because I'm trying to do these videos, because I'm trying to give this free information and to help and to teach, I just don't have as much time to do the consults like I did before. So my time is more precious. But I still knew that you guys deserve the right to have that direction and advice that you critically need on a one-to-one basis. So that's why I'm hiring lawyers. And Chanel is already super busy. But Alicia, you know, Alicia's been practicing for 2 years longer than me. She's got more experience with litigation than I do. She's an exceptional lawyer. Alicia's rate is $300 plus 5% tax in Alberta. And so that's why her rate is set at that rate. And then we scroll down here to Chanel, who's one of our newest lawyers. Her rate is, it's only $157.50 inclusive of GST. But trust me, her skill set, she immigrated herself from Australia in 2018, and she's an exceptionally bright and intelligent lawyer, immigration lawyer. And so that's why I have, Alicia has more experience doing immigration, but I can tell you that there's nothing lost going to Chanel either for assistance. And then she's been with me. You know, she was an actually articling student of mine. After she raised her family for a year, she came back to the practice of law. She is exceptional. Her rate's $300, but lately I have bumped mine up one notch higher to $400 essentially plus GST for a 25-minute consult. And so it is expensive to have access, direct access to me. It is, but I don't want people to get scared away and think, okay, well, I should just go use someone else when in reality, the lawyers at the firm, we all collaborate, we talk, we meet every single week talking about difficult, challenging situations. We share our knowledge. And so everybody in the firm is all operating up here in terms of knowledge when it comes to advising you with your, with your unique situations. Okay, I have to go here with, I have to pull in Saswati. Okay, here's her comment here. All right, she says, I applied for GCMS notes after not hearing for my PR application. And the response I got is, since my spouse is in home country, so the process is delayed. Yeah, that is very, very common, Saswati. Individuals that are outside of Canada who have dependents outside of Canada are stuck in the same process as if they themselves were outside as well. Now, like I said, watch, you guys are seeing this. I know you have to be seeing it. I don't run one of these tracking, websites myself. Maybe I should create it. Maybe I should do that, but there's some good ones out there and you can see the trend. Movement is starting to happen because, once again, just like I told you guys, when it comes to the Honorable Sean Fraser, this is a priority for him and his department right now. It's culling out those backlogs and just dealing with it. So hang in there, Saswati, hang in there. Even though there's been delays, you're going to start to see movement in the first 2 quarters of 2022. Okay, let's go back in here and jump over to the other chats here. Let's see here. So we have, okay, next, Tanya says, again, Upfront Medicals recommended or not. And thank you so much for the great work you're doing for us all. So if you look at most of the applications, they've stopped recommending that you do Upfront Medicals. Why? Because of the processing times, right? If Express Entry is taking 21 months in reality, having you do an Upfront Medical, well, by the time they get around to processing it, if it was the old, 21 months processing, it's going to expire and you're going to have to do a new one. So they're telling individuals now that Upfront Medicals are not required. But you may still choose, if you don't care about paying an extra fee to have another medical done, you may say, you know what? I know that if I have my medical and it's in the system and, everything is in place, when they get to my application, if it hasn't yet expired, it's going to get approved quicker. But another thing you have to factor in, whether it's Express Entry, spousal sponsorship, visa, when you get your permanent resident visa, it is typically linked to the expiry date or the 1-year anniversary on your medical. So one of the decisions people, and I've had a number of consults even this week discussing this timing, some people are choosing to hold off on getting the medical until they receive instructions to get a new one, because when you get that new medical and you provide it to immigration, it allows them to provide a longer period of time on that permanent resident visa. So you've got a little bit more time to arrange your affairs and then travel to Canada. I had a consult with someone who's in the US, and if you're in that situation and you've got a US visa pending and you've got the passport request coming in and it's coming, do you get the medical now? Do you wait? Those are all factors we discuss in the consultations. But in your situation, Tanya, you have to look at those factors and those are the things that you need to take into consideration. Do I need my visa? Do I need that extra time? Do I need it to be issued for a longer period to let me travel, or can I travel as soon as it comes in? Those are some of the main factors that you'd look at. Okay. And just point out again, please post your comment. So this is Diga. Post your comment with the super chat so I can figure out what it is. Okay. All right. So Diga's is a CEC draw. So when it comes to CEC, like I said, the minister has a massive priority towards the people that are in Canada. And traditionally, if you're in Canada, how have they dealt with you? Well, yes, they did the TR to PR pathway. Crazy, right? Yes, they did draw 176 on February the 13th. You Feb 13ers out there, who benefited from a crazy 75 low for the round of invitations. I don't think that's going to happen. However, I do feel, at least in my point, that the minister will do something. He will take action to try to help individuals. Go back, read that blog post of Alicia to see what you can do in the interim to make sure that you're not falling out of status. But I personally think, as far as the CEC draws happening, if they are to do something sooner, I can see those happening, maybe before the 6-month period, but they've got right now so many people in the backlog in the queue. That's something that we have to, consider. Okay, let's say, Diego, you've got I have a score of 476. Any possibility for PR in the upcoming months through CEC? In the coming months, like the next couple months, I think it's unlikely that we're going to see a CEC. But that's why we created that's why literally we created, Alicia and I created the video, and why she wrote the blog post. So check that out, Diga. And I also want to point out, if I flip over to the YouTube channel, that I also released a video just recently that you guys really should check out. What is an LMIA? Man, I got to work on these titles because I don't know how to do good thumbnails. This is an awesome video. It's actually a breakdown of the LMIA process. And those of you who have employers who are trying to figure out, hey, I want to keep you. Man, I keep putting this on here. I apologize, guys. I got to fix my overlays. When you're looking at LMIAs, this for some of you might be the option. But some employers say, oh, this is just too hard. I don't know how to do it. It's too expensive. And all of that might be true. But if you go here and you go to the Canadian Immigration Institute, let's see if I can find it right here, this one. And if you scroll down, you will see that there is an LMIA course for high wage positions. And this course right here is designed to help employers to understand how to do the LMIA on their own. And obviously we're here and available to help in any way, but even you yourself, this will give you a very, very good instruction on how the process works, tips and strategies so that you can educate your employer. And for individuals that are stuck like you are in this situation where you're desperately waiting for that draw to happen, understand that this is the, that's often the pathway to go forward if it's possible. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. We get to the next one. All right, we're just about out of time. So guys, tomorrow, Alicia's going to be with me at, let's see, what time do we have tomorrow? Those of you who are watching here. Oh boy, I keep doing this. Okay. If you're watching tomorrow, if you go to the homepage, you absolutely have to subscribe to the channel. And when you subscribe to the channel, you can see right here, upcoming lives, you can set a reminder, you can set, click the bell on your phone, whatever it is, because tomorrow at 11 a.m., Alicia and I are right back here answering questions again. So why did we do that? Well, why do we do anything we do? We did it to make sure that those who didn't have a chance to get their questions answered could do it tomorrow. So hold off on the super chats. Let me get through the ones that are here. I'm kind of into overtime here, and I need to wrap up the video today. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, I think I'm on Harry here. Looking at the backlog, is there no push from provinces to at least clear the PNP applications that is directly connected with labor market? Harry, when it comes to the PNPs, the vast majority of them know that when you filed your PNP, you can apply to extend your work permit through a bridging open work permit pathway. So if you have already received your nomination and you've filed your application, then the reason that they haven't put as much pressure on it is because they know the bridging open work process will allow you to keep working and keep satisfying that labor market until they get around to processing. So that's really why, Harry. If people are outside of Canada and they're applying, which might be you, Harry, the reality is, they're working through it. They have certain agreements with the provinces that yes, they will process those, do the security and background checks after the province has nominated someone. But unless it goes through express entry, they're not shooting to bring that target down to 6 months. It is set at 15 to 17 or 19 months, whatever it is. And so they have to pick and choose. They only have so many resources to process. But the backlogs, the pure backlogs that are beyond processing times, those they are working on. They really are. Okay, Rich Paul says, what do you think CEC candidates' approach should be with 501 score? Does it make sense to look towards PNP or wait until the draws resume? Guys, every single time I want you to look at everything. So look at every possibility. If there's a province and you think you've got a good shot, you've seen that there's been people drawn within your knock code, or you've seen that there's a pattern of people similar to you getting expressions, those notifications of interest, then go forward with it. Absolutely go forward with it. You can do multiple. You can apply through multiple PNPs. You can apply through, you can pursue express entry at the same time. The one caveat with the PNPs is they will often, like Manitoba, for instance, will wonder if you have any connection with another province. Manitoba is the master of the PNP. They were the first ones to do it. And so they really, really focus on people that have all their ties, all of their links to Manitoba and no other province, because they've had a real history of people getting their nomination and then moving to another province, which is a waste of the whole program unless it's actually benefiting that province. Okay, Nishant says, thanks, Mark. Is it true that current PNP files are priority? Okay, I think I got that one there. I think I answered this one. Is a priority for IRCs and the FSW applicants. Do we expect PNP backlog cleared relatively earlier? I watch the first few months here. Watch Q1, Q2 of 2022, because like I said, if you're in the queue anywhere, backlog especially, millions of dollars have been applied to try to deal with that issue. Okay, Obed says, what's your advice to FSW inland applications who got stuck in the backlog despite being in Canada? There has been no recent movement. Obed, it all comes down to how long you've been stuck. Some people feel like 7 months is stuck. I don't worry about anything inland unless it's at least reaching 9 months or longer, because the reality is those backlogs, especially for, well, let me rephrase this. You've just said FSW inland. Yes, those are stuck. And ultimately you're in the queue, just like all the Outlanders, and you should start to see something, Abed. You should. So watch in the next coming months. There should start to see movement on all of these applications. You saw they were processing over 40,000 a month in the past. So they're going to cut through these backlogs. They are. And that's why they've halted. That's why they've suspended the new draws. Okay. As there's a great backlog, but I read various PPRs, IRCs is going from FIFO. I am January 22nd AOR. What can I expect? Final decision 2022 or 2023? That's a very, very good question. Obviously, first in, first out is what he means by FIFO. And you guys, stop super chatting. I'm going to have to find a way to give you your answers directly, because I have to end this and I don't want anyone to ask a question that send a super chat and then I couldn't answer it. Okay, January 22nd AOR, what can I expect? Final decision. Okay, so ultimately that's hard to say. I expect that probably, once they clear the backlog, right? Once they get caught up in probably mid, I think you've got a good shot. I really do. I think you have a good shot at, now you haven't said, whether you're inside or outside, I don't see here. But I think you have a good shot at getting your application finalized in 2022. I do. Okay. The Swati says, I think I answered this one. Yeah, so I answered that one. Vida, New Brunswick PNP Strategic Initiative, chance after expiry of the visa. Chance after expiry visit. Exploratory visit, maybe? Okay, so the New Brunswick PNPs, obviously any province that has any component with exploratory visits where you can say, hey, in your intention to reside in that province, you can say, hey, I've been there. I've looked around. I've seen where I want to live. I know where my kids are going to go to school. I love the province. If you've actually been able to get there and connect and discuss the fact you've been there, it will give you a huge leg up. Okay, Sumit. Sumit. Okay, let's jump back here. Once again, you guys, this is, okay. Sumit says, hi, Mark. Thanks for taking questions. I got an email from IRCC asking me to fill up Schedule A form. My AOR is March 2020. Is this a good sign? What we're seeing right now, Sumit, every time I saw people that received a Schedule A request, I told them to get over and book a consultation, because usually they request Schedule A's when there's a problem and they're asking for you to provide the same information you did in the beginning to see if you're going to answer inconsistently, and then you're going to trip yourself up, or there's a finding of misrepresentation. So Schedule A's freak me out. However, lately we're starting to see more of those because people want to know what you've been doing with your life since you originally filed, because so much time has passed. 2 years is a long time. So we're starting to see more of those. So it's a good sign from the standpoint that your application is moving forward. It's not necessarily a good sign because there might be something within it that's causing problems. And one thing we do in our office is we go back when people get these requests and we do a forensic evaluation of the original application submitted. I have a little way of getting back and looking at the EAPR information that you submitted, a little internal hack we have in our office, and then we compare it and we make sure that the information you put into your Schedule A when you're responding doesn't have any holes in it. So Sumit, that's kind of how we do it. So I recommend that you slide over and consider booking a consult and we can look at that and do a review for you. Okay, let's see what else we have here as I'm trying to zip through this here. We're just about at the end. I have to start over from the top every time. And I apologize if I miss anyone. Okay. All right. Okay. I think I answered this one, Diga, about the draws, PR in the future. Okay. Liz says, was asked to provide proof of funds after adding a newborn. Yes, for the second time from each account and supporting documents. Why so? Is it okay to have passports in the visa center for more than 2 months? Okay, Liz, I don't know why. They probably forgot about it, but anytime you add a dependent, then that's one more person on the settlement funds. And so you have to prove that you're above that now that you add the new child. Now, they're never going to refuse when you add a new child, because at the time you filed, that child wasn't there. So that number of family members is going to be lower, but always that happens. But why did they ask twice, Liz? The officer must have forgotten, not realized it. Okay. 2 more. Okay. I've got Casey here and I have to hunt now for Casey. She says, I applied for the TR to PR before I got the refusal for my new work permit and got out of status. Then I applied for open work permit under the TR to PR. Will there be a problem with my application? So Casey, this is where, once again, I'm going to click on the triangle, because there are rules associated with whether or not you can apply to extend. And as far as the open work permit that you applied for under the TR to PR pathway, I'm assuming that it's the TR to PR bridge. There are certain factors that you need to have, and one, in many cases, relates to your current work status. And so the best way, I never want to give direct advice about this stuff, Casey, because it's specific to you. So I encourage you to book a consult and then we can talk about that. Okay. Last question. And remember, tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we're doing this all over again. Okay. So Swati says, we have not met their family spouse for more than 2 years. Are in immigration considering applications as a priority, spouses outside of Canada? Thank you for asking that question. Thank you so much, because the reality is with spousal sponsorships and family, that's number 2 on the list. So, and really in terms of priority and processing, spouses are actually above all of the economics. So yes, Saswati, right, number 2 on the list and priorities for the minister is the reunification of families. And it's a big priority. So watch, things should be moving forward for you. Okay. And then the last one right here, I'm going to hit is Abdi. And let's see if we can, you guys are so challenging here. Okay. Abdi says, okay, I'll try to hit both of these. I got 2 nationalities. There's difference in the year of birth and place. My second passport is correct. Okay. I'm trying to have calls coming in here. I'm not quite sure how to turn that off. Okay. My second passport is the correct, and the one I want to apply with, express entry. Okay. You need to sort that out, Abdi. You need to go get a new passport, because often they want to see both of them, but you need to update your passport and get it corrected. That other birth and place of birth, the year of birth and place of birth is a huge issue. You need to get that fixed and resolved. And if you can't, for whatever reason, you have to provide a clear explanation why that is within your letter of explanation. And so, do I think that it'll cause rejection of your application? If you don't deal with it properly, then it absolutely could. Okay. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. This was a great live Q&A today. Once again, just to kind of reiterate the high level stuff, we had my meeting with the minister on Wednesday, and I'll do a separate video that highlights everything that we talked about. But the 2 key takeaways that I want you to understand is that he's very aware of the international students, the postgrads who are running out of time, and processing of the backlog is a huge priority for him. Family classes up there, all of you FSWs, you guys are priorities for him. And the third takeaway, I guess I'll say from Minister Fraser, is that there will be an FSW, an outland draw in some form. I suspect there'll be an occupation element associated with it, but I'm probably projecting around mid-year Q3. So maybe June, July. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Join me tomorrow. And yes, Amy, thank you for understanding. Come again tomorrow, and let's give it a whirl, and we'll see if we've got time. And remember, always, always, this Canadian Immigration Institute is here to help and direct and guide with as much general information and updates on immigration so that you can try to plan your life accordingly. But with that being said, the Canadian Immigration Institute is just one component The Holthe Immigration Law is our law firm where we assist clients all the time with their specific information questions. And trust me, the short little 25-minute consult can make all the difference for you when you're making huge, huge decisions. And if you ask those questions early, we can help you plan, strategize, understand exactly what you should do no matter what your situation is, or at least tell you when there are no options. And that sometimes is the result within the consult. All right. Thanks so much, guys. I'll turn on my little sound effects. And I just want to give a shout out. I was going to give a shout out to, I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, I was going to give a shout out to the creator of the music for the channel. And anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Canadian immigration lawyer Mark Holthe, signing off, wishing you guys all the best as you navigate this crazy world that we call Canadian immigration.